and not what we see on social media. Like I said earlier, we do not know if that happened, but this came to light with a document that was on social media.
If you mean, we cannot leave this discussion to conjectures, right? The letter was probably addressed to the Speaker of the State Assembly and delivered to the Speaker. The social media aspect is just, a supportive aspect of it. But the letter was delivered to the State Assembly.
So you think that it was sent to the office of the governor?
It was delivered
to the assembly, rather, the Speaker.
To the assembly. And it's also fair that people should understand the difference between individuals and governmental structures. Right? Whether Martins likes it or he doesn't like it, whether the assembly members like it or they don't like it, whether the governor himself likes it or he doesn't like it, they occupy very vital positions for which they must find a way of working together. The executive-legislative quarrels is not something new to our democracy. You saw when Buhari was president and Senator Bukola Saraki was the Senate president, right? They didn't quite get along, but they somehow figured out a way because they owed responsibility to Nigerians, right? So in this case now, the governor and the assembly, the executive and the assembly and the legislature must work together. They must find a way of working together. So those who feel that it's because we don't win now, we don't win, how can you expect us? No, you haven't won. You still have a task to reverse people. And you have to work with other arms that have that same task.
Do you see that working relationship? Because there are those that have labeled the lawmakers pro-Wike lawmakers. There are some that have suggested that, what they do, they have to wait for permission before they do it, which I think sometimes is outrageous. But that's what many people say. Now, if we are going to go by any of those handwritings that have been seen, do you think that anytime soon we would have this conversation of whether, and have you seen the posture of some of the lawmakers when they speak about these things, especially the presentation of the budget? Do you think that it's possible to have a good working relationship that would at the end benefit Rivers people best?
Okay, if you hear me, you see, like I said, it's not about how they feel.
But the feelings are important because it's what has led up to this moment.
It's not about how they feel personally. If any one of them does not like, does not want to serve the state again, the person has an option of resigning. Yes, people can disagree. There's no democracy in the world where there are no disagreements. But today, the Supreme Court has said this is how this thing should be. And anybody, irrespective of how you feel, you must attune yourself to the law. You must apply yourself to the law. So whether they agreed individually or they agree individually, whether they don't disagree, they don't agree, what is important is irrespective of how you feel, right? Are you no longer a member of Rivers House of Assembly? If you and by virtue of being a member of the assembly, you have an obligation to Rivers people. And if you don't, if you feel that your feeling no longer allows you to to deliver on your task, there's an option, there's a way out: resignation. Because you occupy a public office. So what's it how you feel? How you feel is your personal feelings, bro. Now, look at it this way. Some people have said that one reason why they will not come is because the governor was inviting them to the government house.
And he had a commissioning today as well.
No, yeah.
Similar time, I think about an hour difference or thereabouts.
Well, of course, the governor can always adjust or ask someone to. Let's not leave the whole thing to conjectures. The assemblymen have not gone there, and the governor and the state governor is not available. Let's not assume. Let's not, uplift our imaginations to try to make them facts. No, they are not. Now, the assembly complex is undergoing renovation, right? So they need to talk. They need to have a conversation. It is the governor who proclaims the House of the Assembly into existence, right? And he does that, or he did that at the assembly complex. Now, if for any reason they cannot sit there, either as we have in the circumstance, it's something a conversation they need to have.
But where have they been sitting before the Supreme Court judgment?
Well, as long as we don't know about that, but I think that what is in operation is the judgment, and from the day judgment came into operation, they need to be clear about where they sit.
All right, so you are saying that the government was not aware where they have been sitting before the Supreme Court judgment.
The law is clear that you must sit in the House of Assembly, or there must be a process. There is a process, a motion right, that says that, okay, for XYZ reason, we can no longer sit here, we are moving to this place. Other arms of government must be aware.
And the government would have to provide.
Yeah, the public must be aware. Because you essentially you owe your duty to the public, to Rivers people. So you just cannot take the assembly to your private residence or to a hotel or to your village. No. There's a place provided for that purpose. Right? You cannot rule the state by proxy.
So some people arguing now that, the governor cannot say, because in that letter, one of the itineraries would be to talk about where they would be sitting. The governor cannot tell the assembly where to sit. Yes, that's true that the governor can't, but then the governor also has the duty of providing a place that the assembly would sit. So how do you then correlate this? How do you put this together?
Look, let's be very clear about this thing. There are three arms of government: executive, legislature, and the judiciary, right? Mm-hmm. Now, it is the executive who proclaims the assembly into existence in the hallowed chambers of the House of Assembly. Now, the assembly complex not being available, there has to be a conversation. Gentlemen, this is the circumstance we found ourselves. Mm-hmm. Let's agree that like the assembly at the present is not safe for human habitation. I, for one, would not encourage the governor to, or the assemblyman to go and sit there, because it's undergoing renovation. It's not safe yet. So they can have a conversation. If the governor is, people, you can't get tired of having a conversation. All of this is about conversation. You must talk. Irrespective of whether we fight, we don't fight, at the end of the day, we must have a conversation. So if the governor is saying, hey guys, come on, let's have a conversation, what's the big deal? People, we just magnify ordinary things into something that I don't even know about. Come, if you let's have a conversation on this. After the war, they went to war, figuratively or literally, if you like. They went to war. The war is now over. So they need to sit down to have a conversation on those issues. Even implementation of their remunerations.
That was also part of what was written in that letter.
So now the presentation of budget, for which the Supreme Court was very clear, right? The governor, if they sit, the governor has said that, look, let's have a place where you sit. I'm ready to present the budget. So if they don't want to honor the invitations of the governor, is it that it's part of their plans to hold the state to ransom? Do they want to stand off in the state? Is it that they don't want civil servants to get paid?
Well, we can't say that until they don't go. Then we can say that. So let's not make that assumption.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Let's not. I'm encouraging the Martin Samehule and the members of the assembly. In my representative in particular, Prince Lemchinyeche, I'm encouraging him to go for the meeting. Our constituency, Ikwere constituency, is saying, please go for the meeting. The quarrel is over, irrespective of how anybody feels. The Supreme Court has come out very clear that this is how this thing should be. So it's no longer about how you felt when the war was on. It's not about the facts of today. And if the government, the father, has, said, gentlemen, we can have a conversation, why not?
All right, let's take a very short commercial.
The world's changed.
All right, Upper States, good morning. My name is Ifeemi Andrew. Elechi Clinton is still with me in the studio, public affairs analyst, and we've said quite a lot about the invitation of the governor sent to the leadership of the State Assembly led by Martin Ameule. And, well, we have to wait and see how this plays out, whether the invitation will be honored for a meeting. The governor is calling for a meeting to say, let's sit down. And in that meeting, several things are on the table. One of them include how do we work around where you would be sitting and holding your legislative duties. Let's talk about the monies that have been owed you, the areas and all of that, how we're going to pay all of those, amongst other things that have been listed in that letter that surfaced on social media. The big question remains, okay, how is that going to work? There are those that have described it as a diversionary tactics. Well, we can't tell for sure. And there are even some people that will speculate that it's becoming a thing of invite upon invite, because the House of Assembly had given ultimatums and said the governor should come present the budget, which was the first thing that they asked after the Supreme Court judgment. And some people felt that approach would not work. Now we're seeing the government saying, okay, come for a meeting. Okay, let's see how it plays out. Before I go to my guest, let me remind us that you can get on Facebook and join the conversation live at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. Again, at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. That's the handle to join us live on Facebook and participate in the conversation. Don't forget to click on the share button as well on X, Nigeria Info PH, on YouTube, Nigeria Info PH. This message from Facebook, Joel says, peace is possible if everybody drops their arrogance. For me, 3 commissioners must be exempted from the meeting because of the role they played during the period of trial. What did he say? Okay, the Commissioner for Information, the Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning, and the Attorney General of the state. He says these 3 must be exempted from the meeting. Okay, why should they be exempted? That's your message on Facebook. We'll take as much as we can, so just keep your messages coming in on Facebook. Remember to also use the WhatsApp number 0809-030-6416. Okay. Quickly, Mr. Clinton, before we take the messages and calls, just one more question I'd like to ask. It's about the budget. Are we going to now say we might see presentation of the budget soon?
Well, the Supreme Court is clear that the CBN should not release allocations to Rivers State until a budget is presented. And the governor, having expressed his intentions to do that, nobody should, empanel obstacle on his way to achieving that. The governor is now, as part of his obligations up to the office of the governor, he's got to find a way to present the budget. But the problem is, where? The assembly complex is not available now because of the reconstruction. So should the governor drive to the assembly complex and present it to the woods and to the cement there?
So in other words, the government does not know where the assembly members sit.
No, of course. Now, of course. That's why the conversation is important. What was proclaimed into existence is at the hallowed chamber of the Rivers House of Assembly, which at the moment is under renovation. So if for any reason they are sitting somewhere else, the executive and the judicial arms of government, and of course the Rivers people should know. So if you are inviting me, are you inviting me to your personal residence? Are you inviting me to your hotel? Are you inviting me to your community? Where? When I don't know where you're seated or where you're sitting? Come on, if you hear me, let's understand this government is a process. You can't invite me to your personal residence, for example, and call that the Rivers House of Assembly. No, it's not. So it's the conversation that they will have that will say, okay, gentlemen, for XYZ reason, the hallowed chamber is not available. We are now moving the sitting to here, which is known to everybody. So for me, I think that's why this conversation is key. And let's encourage the 2 arms of government, or the 3 arms of government as it were, to learn how to work together now. It's important that they do. Because at the end of the day, those who will bear the brunt are the ordinary Rivers people. Teachers may not get paid. Civil servant may not get paid. Nothing will work. The health system will be down. Everything, security, all of that. So I want to encourage the governor, right, to continue being on the path of democracy. I was happy that as soon as the governor got the judgment, he said that, okay, we are going to implement. And he has begun in earnest. I'm also encouraging the assembly that, look, gentlemen, this is nothing personal. It's politics. Now the court has given you judgment. Please be magnanimous in victory. They have not delivered reverse into your purse or into your pocket. So come up, you have a job to do. And you have to do that. You have to do that job with other people, other arms. So if the governor has said, gentlemen, let's have a conversation, please, come on. By all means, why not?
All right. Ibe says the principle of checks and balances does not allow the assembly to just decide on where they can sit. So a meeting with the executive is constitutional in determining what and where can be acceptable point of convergence to legislate on matters of urgent state interests, such
Absolutely.
as budget presentation.
Absolutely.
Before NS says if the assembly refused to honor today's invitation, the governor should go and present to them at their Aba Road temporary office. Peace is priceless. Before NS, that's his point. All right, so somebody is saying that they sit at Aba Road office.
So is that the Rivers House Assembly complex?
Sour Jack says Rivers State governor has invited 27 lawmakers led by Ameule to a meeting aimed at. Look, this is. I can't take all of this. It's really too long. I've always encouraged us to make sure we keep the messages short. Brother, presenting the budget is not the problem. Their plan is to impeach the governor and return power back to the people of Obiak. But what is playing out is a career agenda and I stand to be corrected. Clever Sonny. Well, you will be corrected I've corrected you.
Sorry, Ifemi. You see, to Rivers people and to, what's that, Clever
Sonny.
Okay. To Rivers people, you see, we must not ethnicize the issue. Right? We must not ethnicize. There's an equity agenda. Yes, there's an equity agenda. What's that agenda? An agenda for equity, an agenda for equality, an agenda for fairness. So that's the equity agenda, an agenda for a Rivers that offers opportunity to all her persons and all our people and our citizens, of course. So if you say equity agenda on this issue, most of those who are supporting Fubara the most are equity people. Right? Most of those who are supporting Fubara, most of those who were at the receiving end of Wike's arbitrariness, equity people. Most of the land that were confiscated from the communities are equity lands. Most of the persons, the hotels that were shut down, were owned by equity people. The business that were closed down under Wike.
Which under the passage?
Yes, under the passage.
Okay, I thought you meant now. I'm like,
even now, the bulk of the supporters of the governor are equity people. Quite many of us are at the forefront of the support of the governor. So when you begin to ethnicize it, when you begin to give it tribal colorations, we feel betrayed. We feel angry. So let's not take that route at all. It won't sit well with some of us.
Okay. All right then. Let's go take some calls now. 0817-923-0007, 0817-923-0002. Again, 0817-923-0007 and 0817-923-0002. I will wait on the calls. There was also another notice from the assembly members to the governor asking for the sack of commissioners. I think about 19 of them. What's your take on that?
But that matter is now sub judice. It's now before a court of law, so we can't make comment about it. And I'm sure the assembly too cannot act on it because the matter is before the court of law. All
right. God's power and Rumudara, let's hear you. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
All right, straight to the point, please.
Andrew, my name is Aiba God's power. It pains me when I hear people say that the governor is extending an olive branch to the Overseas House Assembly members. Andrew, before the Supreme Court judgment, what the supporters of Governor Tim and supporters of Martin were waiting for is the judgment. Now the judgment has come. The governor said that he was waiting for the CTC for him to implement the judgment. Andrew, you and I know that the assembly members are not happy. Their allowances and salaries have been seized for over a year. Andrew, you are aware that the governor declared the seat of the assembly vacant and said that they were existing at his mercy. Andrew, at this point, when as the speaker are giving judgment, what do you expect? Is the governor to first pay the allowances and salaries of these people, to first present budget, because one of the judgment, one of the clauses in judgment says that CBN should not release money that is related to Oliver State government. Present budget so that salaries can be paid to workers. Now, the governor does not have any power to discuss the assembly where they will sit. They are already sitting. In fact, during the crisis, they start over 10 times. Andrew, what is really wrong? What game is the governor playing in this state?
All right, let's go to Peter and Ozwoba now. Peter, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Andrew, and your guest. I want to thank God for, despite all these things, that the River State is still coupled together. And I think I have to, after thanking God, I have to thank God for the spirit He gave to the man in charge. I always hear that there is number one man in the state or number one man in the nation. And this has to be reversed. But in River State, it's not so. I believe that what the line that the governor has taken is the right thing to do. For those of us who call from different areas and all that, from social media, from news media and all that, I think that this is a time for us to allow these two things to come together. And number one, they must have to obey the executive governor. Everything has to, no matter whatever, even those of us, even media, everybody knows that you have a governor. Number one is that you have a governor, no matter whoever that's abusing or doing one thing or the other. So what I want to say is only in this place I found out that the governor, the office of the governor is so reduced to the level of CDC, that's chairman of the development of a village. It is not supposed to be so. So since the governor have called them that they should come, for them to discuss, number one, this very particular the place, there must be a proclamation. Don't they have constitution?
All right.
That is, let them throw away this and now come to this round table and agree and do something. Please,
all right. Thank you very much, Peter.
Now, putting fire and all that, stop it.
Let's go to Okwandu now. Thank you very much, Peter. Okwandu is in Iriebe. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Ifemi Andrew. Good morning to your guests in the studio. You see, as a matter of fact, this Martin Ameule and his friends that are disturbing the peace of this state now with ultimatums here and there and questioning the call by the governor. All of them, majority of them were in the house when Governor Wike was governor of this state. They never make any noise. Even when there were issues that need very urgent call, we didn't hear from them. I think that the Supreme Court victory that they have gotten is only a chance given to them to prove to River people that they are for them. If not, they should stop acts that are